think there are two ways you could look at Aquaman 2, The Lost Kingdom. You could see it as a film standing on its own merits, or you could look at it in terms of the wider malaise in the DC extended universe, in the Marvel, and generally in comic book and superhero movies that's been developing since 2019 and has kind of fully come to fruition in 2023, which Aquaman pretty much rounds off. I'll start by looking at the movie on its own merits, and in this respect, it's fine, I suppose. It's a little bit better than Black Adam. It's significantly better than Shazam! Fury of the Gods. It's way better than the absolute disaster than the Marvels was, but still, I'd never watch this or any of those films ever again. This is a Netflix movie. It's not a $200 million event movie at all. The cast is generally very likeable. Momoa is great. Temeura Morrison, Patrick Wilson, Nicole Kidman, even Dolph Lundgren are quite fun to watch. Amber Heard seems to have been pared back as much as possible. It feels like they're going for a bit of a lighter tone here. A comic book movie in the style perhaps of The Mummy, starring Brendan Fraser from 1999. In that respect, the cast sort of keep the movie going for most of the film. And the action sequences are decent enough. I enjoyed the one in the desert, and I enjoyed the escape from the giant insects. But it's yet another save the world plot with lots of special effects, lots of sounds and noise, which ultimately shows up how, although the cast are likeable, the characters themselves are just extremely thin and without much actual substance. There's just a lack of emotional depth here. The past couple of weeks I've been reading a lot and watching videos about the end of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, The Return of the King, and those were characters who were set up efficiently and who you felt emotionally connected to, and that just highlights how we haven't been with these characters long enough to really care about them very much. So ultimately, as nice as the special effects are, and as much as I enjoyed it, it's a bit sort of empty and doesn't really have any rewatch value. I mean, I watched a mid-morning screening with about 15 people in it, 3 or 4 of whom were actually really enjoying it and laughing at the jokes. But I wonder who's left watching these movies now. Is it just the absolute stans and the YouTubers as well? If Aquaman marks the end of the DCEU and Marvels were to mark the end of the MCU, I think that would be okay. Enough comic book movies. Give it a rest. We're done here.